Hang on a minute. There we go. Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to Taylor's Detroit Sports Show on Blog Talk Radio. Simulcasting on YouTube one last time. I just thought I'd give it a test drive. YouTube's been kind of acting up with this webcam thing as I try to simulcast here over and over again, because I've been successfully doing this most of the time. So 2 straight weeks of not being able to simulcast on a webcam on YouTube is a first for me, and just the lowest point of my non-paid broadcasting at home career, and I sincerely apologize for that, and if it ever happens again, I apologize again. And then I promise I will not go to YouTube ever again. I've had my history there. So anyway, I'm going to recap the Lions and Cardinals. I'm going to recap the Spartans and Terrapins, Chippewas and Redhawks, and of course Eastern and the Eagles and Broncos, Western. The weekend review of the Red Wings and Pistons, plus some Tigers news as well. First off, the Lions lost 14-6. Too many penalties on their defense and their offense altogether. Their defense held the Cardinals to just 14 points, with Drew Stanton as their quarterback, filling in for a season for a rest of season injured Carson Palmer, who tore his ACL a week ago today in his team's 31-14 win at home against the St. Louis Rams. There was a point where the Lions could have made it 14-10 by going for it on 4th and 1. I hear a lot of Lions fans complain about the type of penalties and rules and the interpretations of the rules and whatnot. I don't believe that. The Lions got screwed by the referees. The refs hate Detroit.
I want you here. What's your problem there, pal? Can't a guy get a bit of sleep? Don't bug me.
Yeah, that's definitely what I don't want to hear. Lions fans complain too much today. And I thought the referees did a good job, and the fans complain about the rules, which is even, oh my God, even more immature. I mean, how many times do I have to put up with this?
I want you here. What's your problem there, pal? Can't a guy get a bit of sleep? Don't bug me.
You can call in at 646-478-4837 to keep complaining if you want to. It's not going to matter. You can also text in your opinion on my cell phone at 231-429-3668. Again, the guest call-in phone number is 646-478-4837. And the text number is 231-429-3668. I hope you got both phone numbers written down. One for call and one for text. Yeah, I just added the text number to this show. So make sure you put your name and location on your texts. please. Whether it's at the beginning of the text or the end of the text or the middle of the text, so I don't care. By the way, you can also add me as a friend on Facebook, Taylor Phillips with 2 L's. Like my Facebook page, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports page. Also, join my Facebook group, Taylor's Detroit Sports Group, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports Group, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports Group. Oh, I also have a Twitter handle as well. Yeah, I kept mentioning that actually. It's at DT2, the number 2, Phillips with 2 L's. That's at DT2 Phillips. Plus the chat window is open on this episode of Taylor's Detroit Sports Show on Blog Talk Radio. Once you call in to the show, I will ask who it is and where you're from. I'll ask who you are and where you're from. Matthew Stafford and the offensive line were both very inconsistent. The wide receivers didn't do too terrible of a job. They made their catches. Again, most of the incomplete passes were inaccurate. That's just on Stafford, on Matthew Stafford, their quarterback. Some fans were blaming Joe Lombardi for his play calling. That's still a mystery to me, and to other Lions fans as well. Lions play the Patriots next Sunday at 1 o'clock on Fox. Most Lions fans wanted the game on NBC at 8:25 on NBC Sunday Night Football with Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth. I love those two color commentators. But if the Lions and Patriots were to play at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time in Foxborough on Fox instead, I would suggest Joe Buck and Troy Aikman to call the game because it's a big matchup. But more importantly, I expect the Lions offense to really perk up. They need to improve in 2 areas. Quarterback's passing accuracy, and the offensive line needs to form a much firmer brick wall on the opposing defense, on the opposing defensive front. Lots of other stuff to get to, so we're going to move on to college football. Michigan State pounded Maryland 37-15. But the win was mostly easy for the Spartans in Terrapin territory, Terrapin country. Spartans scored the first 10 points, then Maryland struck with a touchdown. Oh, by the way, Lions wide receiver Calvin Johnson suffered an injured elbow, but was put out there on the field all day. He quote unquote. Calvin Johnson, Megatron, told the media that, and we would assume that would be that the blame for that would be put on the coaching staff, understandably. if you put someone out there injured all game long, if you're a coach, then you're making a big mistake. I don't care if you're Jim Caldwell or Joe Lombardi or Terrell Austin, who's still done a marvelous job on as defensive coordinator this year. That's the kind of Brady Hoke-esque mistake that was made when Hoke kept putting Shane Morris out there after Morris suffered a concussion, what they called a mild concussion, but it was a concussion nonetheless. But Jeremy Langford scored a couple touchdowns, and Nick Hill scored a couple. Both of those were incredible touchdown runs. One of them put the icing on the cake after Maryland tried to come back late. Scoring a touchdown and a 2-point conversion with about just over 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, but Michigan State just barely recovered an onside kick. Aaron Burbridge doing the honors. So they took it downfield, put some icing on the cake. Their defense really recovered from a difficult loss to the Ohio State Buckeyes, 49-37 a week ago last night at Spartan Stadium in East Lansing. Central Michigan squeaked out a 34-27 win over the Miami, Ohio Redhawks to the Chippewas at Kelly Short Stadium. The Chips had to hold on to make a goal line stand after 6 opportunities for the Hawks at the 2-yard line. Tyus Davis scored 3 touchdown receptions. Thomas Rawls played as well. Plus, the Western Michigan Broncos shellacked the Eastern Michigan Eagles in Kalamazoo 51-7. I want to add some college basketball to this episode as well, because its 2014-15 regular season tipped off as well. Michigan State opened their regular season with a 64-59 win at Navy against the Midshipmen. Michigan struggled to pull away in the first half, but pulled away in the second half with a 92-68 win over the Hillsdale College Chargers. Central Michigan Chippewas on Friday night just clobbered Alma College, 106-64 at McGurk Arena, the men's basketball team. Also the Central Michigan women's team in basketball just edged Massachusetts 72-70. I apologize for this. Bless me for my sneezes. Moving on to the Red Wings. They took 4 straight days off after a week ago when they lost to the Lightning in another shootout. Then they played the Blackhawks and beat them easily 4-1 with stout defense and some production from Luke Glendening, who backhanded one past Corey Crawford and then got an assist on the Tomas Tatar goal for goal number 3. Franzen scored goal number 2 for the Wings. Brendan Smith, the empty netter. Patrick Kane on the power play on a blown penalty kill in the first period, tied the game at 1, but it didn't matter. But they took Saturday off, and then the Montreal Canadiens came in, and the Red Wings let the Canadiens shellac them, because the Red Wings were too scared, like the Lions were too scared against the now 9-1 Cardinals, because the Lions were playing in hostile territory. The Red Wings were playing on their own home ice, and it seemed the Red Wings didn't have any desire to beat the Canadiens. This didn't look like a rivalry game to me. After the first period ended scoreless, but the second period, second period, things started to unravel. PK Subban and Brandon Prust scoring the first 2 goals. Prust and Subban in order. Then Tomas Plekanec and then Brendan Gallagher with a bank shot off the back of Jimmy Howard in the back of the net. Riley Sheahan got the Wings on the board after their backup goaltender Tokarski lost his helmet and put it back on and fumbled his stick as well. He wasn't ready for the rebound after he made a save. The Wings hit the road for 3 games this week. They're in Columbus Tuesday against the Blue Jackets at 7. Then they go to Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and play the Jets at 8 o'clock on Thursday. Then the Maple Leafs on Saturday in Toronto at 7. All 3 games will be televised on Fox Sports Detroit. The Maple Leafs game will additionally be televised on CBC's Hockey Night in Canada and the NHL Network as well. And I don't hate any of the networks, the national networks. I love sports. I love Don Cherry too. Pistons finished their 4-game road trip 1-3, and now stand at 3-7. They got a nice 96-89 overtime win in Oklahoma City against the Thunder. Their first since December 20th of 2008. Their first against the Thunder since that date. But I feel like they should have beaten the Bulls. I think they should have beaten the Wizards. The Grizzlies were a tougher task. If I were the Pistons, I would have finished my road trip 3-1. I think the Grizzlies were just too good. But not the Bulls, not the Wizards. Pistons should have beat both those teams. So let me see here. This week, the Pistons return home to the Palace against the Magic tomorrow on Monday, 7:30 on Fox Sports Detroit and Detroit Sports 105.1. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It'll be a Red Wings, Pistons, Red Wings, Pistons, Red Wings, Pistons week this week. It's actually technically a Red Wings, Pistons, Red Wings, Pistons, Red Wings, Pistons, Red Wings week. And there are 0 days that both teams play on the same night or day, or whichever you prefer. Victor Oladipo returns to the lineup for the Magic, so it should be an interesting matchup. Magic are 4-7, Pistons are 3-7, Suns are 5-5. They play the Pistons at the Palace Wednesday at 7:30 on Fox Sports Detroit and Detroit Sports 105.1. Then the Pistons start a 2-game road trip starting Friday. Pistons travel to the Atlanta Hawks, who are 5-4 right now. That contest tips off at 7:30 on Fox Sports Detroit and 105.1. You can stream all Pistons games on DetroitSports1051.com. Luckily, copyright law actually allows it. Allows us fans to allows Pistons fans to stream all Pistons games online at Detroit Sports 105.1 and on the Detroit Sports 105.1 mobile app. Also on Detroit Sports 105.1 on TuneIn Radio. Any opinions on everything that goes on in the Detroit sports world right now, and in the past and the future, just call me at just give me a call at 646-478-4837, or you can text me at 231-429-3668. One last thing to touch on before I wrap this up. Tigers re-signed Victor Martinez to a new 4-year, $68 million contract and trade a top prospect, second baseman Devon Travis, to the Toronto Blue Jays for center fielder Anthony Gose. I love that Victor Martinez is staying in Detroit, but that lessens the odds that Max Scherzer is coming back, as everybody would understand. Scherzer demands just like way too much money, like $300 million, like almost like Giancarlo Stanton and the Miami Marlins agreeing to a new 13-year, $325 million contract just this past Friday, just 2 days ago. Man, it's something that is so outrageously expensive. like, how did the Marlins come up with that kind of contract money? Single contract money, by the way. Anyway, the trade for Anthony Gose, well, I'm kind of 50-50 on this one. Gose can run and play defense, but he still can't hit. He had 234 overall last season in 2014 with the Toronto Blue Jays. Hopefully the Tigers coaching staff, including hitting coach Wally Joyner and assistant hitting coach Newman, can help shape up Gose's batting, so Gose can increase his batting average from last year. But there's still more off-season work to be done by Tigers president and general manager Dave Dombrowski. Their main issue they have to address is their bullpen, of course. The Tigers re-signed Joel Hanrahan, the relief pitcher, to a 1-year, $1 million contract with $2.5 million in incentives 2 days ago, according to USA Today. That's good news. Great news, in fact, especially after considering the fact that Joel Hanrahan had to be out for the entire season with a Tommy John surgery or something like that. Bruce Rondon is coming back from his all-season Tommy John surgery. The Tigers are getting shortstop Jose Iglesias back. I expect Eugenio Suarez to back him up and Andrew Romine to be sent back down. Suarez was off to a good start. Suarez has had his ups and downs, but he made a few errors that he shouldn't have made, but so did everybody else on defense, on the field, on the diamond. The entire defense has to get better for the Tigers. It has to improve totally. But thank goodness Iglesias is coming back. So that's gonna do it for Taylor's Detroit Sports Show, Sunday, November 16th, 2014, from 11 to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Join me back on Spreaker tomorrow night after the Pistons take on the Magic at the Palace. For episode 94 of Taylor's Detroit Sports on Spreaker and on iHeartRadio. Then I'll talk to you back here on Blog Talk Radio for a November 23rd edition of Taylor's Detroit Sports Show at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday night. Until then, TTFN, ta-ta for now.